I still remember the sound that morning, gravel crunching, tires roaring, then a snap that made my gut twist. My private property sign split right in half, dust swirling behind a shiny white SUV with an HOA logo plastered so big you could spot it from the moon. Sitting behind the wheel, Claire Phillips, self-declared queen of Whispering Pines, cruising over my land like she'd bought the whole county at a yard sale. She didn't even slow down, just tossed me that smug little wave through her tinted window, one of those "you can't stop me" gestures that makes your blood run hot. I swear something inside me cracked louder than that signpost. 15 years I'd spent bulldozing that dirt road by hand, guarding every inch of my ranch, and now it was just another shortcut for her shiny tires. That was the moment I quit being polite. Claire wanted a shortcut through my land. I was going to give her one straight down. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a neighbor so bold, so flat out entitled, that you started to question if you were the crazy one? Yeah, that's how this story begins. If you've ever lived on a patch of dirt long enough, you know you start to feel every inch of it like it's your own skin. That road running from the highway down to my barn, it wasn't just a path. It was my history. Every summer storm that washed it out, every dawn, I was out there with my old grader scraping, leveling, patching so the feed truck could make it through. That road was my artery, my peace. And for 15 years, not a soul disturbed it. Then she showed up. Whispering Pines HOA. They called it a luxury subdivision, but let's be honest, it looked like someone photocopied the same beige box 100 times and plopped them down in a cow pasture. I swear there isn't a pine tree within 3 miles. That didn't stop folks from paying a fortune to live there, or stop Claire Phillips from making herself queen of suburban order. At first I barely noticed. A car on the far ridge, a golf cart drifting close to my fence, no big deal. Then one morning, fresh tire tracks right down the middle of my dirt road. They ended where my property line met the HOA's back gate. I told myself, just a lost neighbor, no harm done. Even laughed about it. But then it happened again, and again, and again. Every morning, 7:30 sharp, a white SUV with chrome trim barreled out from the HOA side dust, flying headed straight for the highway. Some days she slowed just long enough to flash that fake, friendly wave. Most days she didn't bother. The first time I just stood there, bucket of feed in hand, mouth hanging open. It's like seeing a squirrel rob your bird feeder in broad daylight, staring you down the whole time. That's what it felt like. So I did what any reasonable person would: put up a sign. Big bold letters, "Private road, no trespassing." Planted it right where she cut through, impossible to miss. Next morning, the SUV rolled through. The sign gone. Found it snapped in half behind my hay bales like a trophy. That's when I realized this wasn't ignorance. This was arrogance. That night, sitting on my porch watching the sun bleed over the hills, I saw those headlights bouncing through the field again, 2 angry eyes in the dark. I decided right then, enough was enough. Next morning, I parked my truck across the bend and waited. 7:32 a.m. There she was. I waved, tried to get her attention. She rolled the window down, half-smile voice, syrupy sweet. "Morning, Mr. Rogers. Is everything okay?" "Not really," I said. "You're driving on private property. This isn't a public road, it's mine." She tilts her head like I just told her the sky was green. "Come on now, we're all neighbors, aren't we? What's a little dirt between friends?" That line burned itself into my brain. "What's a little dirt between friends?" I managed to say. "Ma'am, this isn't a shortcut. It's a working ranch road. Please stop using it." She smiled even wider. "Well, I'll see what the board says." Drove off, spinning her tires, dust right in my face. Turns out the board was just a handful of retirees with clipboards living under Claire's thumb. Next week, more of them showed up, stopping near my fence, pointing, measuring like they were planning an invasion. Couple days later, I came home from the feed store to find Claire and 3 HOA folks at the mouth of my road, iced lattes in hand, papers clipped to their chests like medals. I pulled up. "Can I help you folks?" Claire beamed. "Oh, Brandon, we're just holding a quick community vote. The board decided it would be mutually beneficial to open your access road for neighborhood convenience. We're calling it a shared easement proposal." I laughed, thinking it was a joke, but then I saw her clipboard bullet point signatures, HOA letterhead. That laughter turned cold. That night I found a letter in my mailbox. No county seal, just an HOA logo printed in Comic Sans, for crying out loud. The HOA board has officially voted to incorporate your ranch road as part of the Whispering Pines community travel access. Any resistance will be treated as non-compliance. Cooperation is expected. Thank you. Signed, Claire Phillips, President. with a little smiley face next to her name. I sat on the porch, letter in one hand, beer in the other, staring at that dirt road. Crickets, cows lowing, and far off the faint hum of an HOA SUV. That's when it hit me. Claire didn't want convenience. She wanted control. Folks like her, they don't see land the way we do. It's not sweat or soil, just lines on a map they figure they can redraw with enough votes and a confident tone. By the time I finished that beer, I'd made up my mind. No more warnings, no more signs, no more polite chats. If she wanted a shortcut through my life, I was about to give her one she'd never forget. Next morning, I called my old friend Derek Miller. Man owns a backhoe and an unlimited sense of humor. You ever feel like teaching karma how to dig, I asked. He just laughed. Tell me when and how deep. We spent the afternoon planning. Picked a blind bend halfway down the trail right where she flew by at 30 miles per hour. Dug a trench not deep enough to hurt but deep enough to make a point. Covered it with old plywood dirt twigs. From the road it looked like nothing. Next day I brewed coffee, set up folding chairs by the barn. Derek showed up, donuts in hand, grinning. You think today's the day? It's Friday, I said. Claire Phillips doesn't miss Friday yoga. Sure enough, right on schedule, her white SUV yoga mat in the passenger seat. Sunglasses big enough to shield a small child, blasting a podcast about manifesting power. As she hit the curve, the tires rolled up on the plywood. Crack. Plywood gave way and her 2-ton Suburban tank nosedived straight into the trench. Airbag dust, coffee, flying, Claire's scream echoing across the fields. Derek nearly fell off his chair laughing. Claire stumbled out, phone clutched like a weapon, yelling, "Sabotage! You put my life in danger." She tripped over her yoga mat and dropped her iced latte into the trench, the final touch. 15 minutes later, county sheriff rolls up. Sheriff Cole Matthews, face carved into, "I've seen worse." "Morning, ma'am. Everything all right here?" She went off. "This man set a trap. My car is destroyed." Sheriff looks at the trench, the SUV, then me. "You want to explain?" "Erosion project," I said. "Been planning it for weeks. Private property, she's been trespassing for months." Claire gasped. "This is public road, don't insult my intelligence." Sheriff just raised an eyebrow. "Public road. That true?" I handed him my laminated county map, property lines marked. "Been mine since 2009. He studied it, nodded. "Ma'am, this is Roger's land. You don't have legal access." She sputtered. "We're all part of the same community." Sheriff shook his head. "He's not in your HOA, and unless your charter overrules county law, this road ain't yours." She demanded an investigation, threw around words like negligence and safety. Sheriff just sighed. "I'll file a report, but from where I stand, looks like you drove into an active work site that didn't belong to you. You might want to call a tow truck." Tow truck showed up. Driver took one look and said, "This isn't coming out without a crane." Claire screamed. The cows scattered. By sundown, her SUV was still half submerged. Derek and I watched from the porch, beer in hand, laughing so hard I thought we'd pass out. Next morning, 3 trucks, a crane, 5 men scratching their heads, and Claire in a HOA windbreaker barking orders like she was preparing for war. After an hour of chaos, the tow crew gave up. "You're fighting Mother Nature and she's winning," the driver said. That night, another letter. Glossy, full color. Notice of environmental violation. Your unauthorized excavation endangers neighborhood safety. Fined $100 per day until filled. HOA demands immediate easement access. Signed, Claire, smiley face included. Derek read over my shoulder. She really thinks she's the county now. But I wasn't laughing, not completely. Folks like Claire, they don't quit, they regroup. I lost sleep that night. What if there was some old deed, some clause she could use? By dawn, I was at the county clerk's office. 2 hours, stacks of old files, and finally a document. Easement agreement. Whispering Pines, 1976. In black and white, it barred the HOA from using any private agricultural roads. Their shared access dream dead before it started. Valid, notarized, never revoked. I laughed out loud, thanked the clerk, and drove home. Laminated that document, handed it to Claire by her mailbox. She tried to crumple it, but it was plastic. Her face, I almost felt bad. Almost. Next morning, a real lawyer, Mara Pritchard, filed a cease and desist in a civil suit for trespassing and harassment. 2 days later, sheriff's deputy handed Claire the papers in her front yard. Her jaw dropped. Sued for what? Harassment, trespassing, property damage. He tipped his hat. Have a blessed day. Courtroom was packed. HOA drama is small-town theater. Judge Holloway, old and sharp, heard both sides. Claire accused me of setting booby traps, demanded damages for loss of social standing. Judge just sighed. Mara submitted the easement document. "This looks legitimate," he said. Claire tried to argue. Mara cited county code. Doug, her cousin/lawyer, fumbled papers and got roasted by the judge for criminal intent by shovel ownership. The trail cam footage played. The gallery lost it. Claire called it illegal surveillance. Judge on private property. Perfectly legal. I handed over photos, letters, everything. Judge ruled in my favor. HOA and Claire ordered to pay damages, issue apology, and barred from touching my land. Claire removed from office for 10 years. The courthouse erupted. By that evening, Trenched by Claire was a meme and local news had a field day. But what mattered to me was the quiet that followed. For weeks, not a single HOA car, no letters, just peace, that deep kind of peace you feel when you finally stood your ground and won. Claire moved to Florida, rumor is she joined another HOA and got booted for excessive correspondence. Derek still stops by for a beer, and sometimes we joke about opening a gift shop at Karen's Canyon, but mostly it's just quiet wildflowers blooming around the old trench ducks nesting after the rain. Harold Jennings, the new HOA president, came by to apologize, said they'd build their own road. It should have ended ugly, but instead I got my land, my peace, and maybe a lesson about standing your ground and about knowing when to laugh instead of rage. That trench isn't just a scar in the dirt, it's a line, a reminder that respect is earned, not voted on. Sometimes you've got to be stubborn. Sometimes karma just needs a little nudge or a backhoe. So let me ask you, and I want you to be honest, have you ever had a Claire Phillips in your life? Someone who wouldn't take no for an answer. What did you do? Drop your story down below. I'll be reading every one, and if you want to see what happens when an HOA tries to mess with a rancher's water rights, well, you know where to find me next time.